Welcome back to the Morning Wrap. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and joining me now is Lee Johnson and Dustin Young. They are founders of Our Own, a Los Angeles-based Black-owned nonprofit organization, which just launched an on-campus wellness space for students. Thank you to both of you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
So first, just kind of explain the genesis for this, where you guys came up with the idea to do something like this in a high school.
Yeah, so we have a nonprofit organization based in LA, right? And a lot of things that we have seen is just a lack of access to resources and tools. And when we focus on our young people, we realize like, well, where are kids at, all the time? They're at school. And in order for us to have like a more preventative approach, we have to get into the schools. So we partner with the school district to build out this space to focus on the mental well-being of the students. And since coming back from the pandemic, we realized like kids are having increase in stress, depression, anxiety, suicide ideation. So how can we provide more access and tools and essentially build a toolbox for students so they could deal with their mental well-being?
So what are we seeing? You're in a high school now in Inglewood.
Yes.
What do we see in this space? What do the kids have access to?
So I think the first thing is they're coming into a space that's beautifully designed, right? I think that for us, we knew that we had to design something that would wow the kids, but also make them feel safe. I feel like that is a very important thing for us. So when you come in, you have everything in the space. First, it's just a beautifully designed space. The kids get a chance to kind of tap in with books. So we have a whole library of books that they can kind of read and things like that. Then they have things like our tea wall that have yoga blankets. And then we have an app built in so they can really just tap in and meditate as they see fit throughout the day on top of the programming that we have.
Now, some people might say, well, is this distracting to the kids? Or are they not focusing on their education if they're meditating? But you guys have started to see some real results in the classroom, spilling over into academics.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the biggest thing that we like to say is sometimes life is gonna life, right? And it's even more so for the kids. But when you build a space like this, yes, it's beautiful, but does it work? And I think for us, we have seen so many good things come from this space. We've seen a 7% increase in GPA since the space has been up and running since October, which is phenomenal. Wow. But then there are the things that we can't quite quantify, such as the fact that kids are speaking more, kids are communicating, kids are getting a sense of who they are, which means, that they get a chance to tell their stories. And I think a lot of times when you're thinking of these students and education and how they grow, it's a lot of times they don't have spaces where their voice is heard. So this gives them the confidence to kind of make sure that they do have that and they can grow.
Absolutely. And I know you guys are focusing on underserved communities where maybe they don't have access to things like this as much as other communities do. I know you're in one high school now. What's the plan? You plan to expand?
Yeah, absolutely. So the plan right now, we're in the first high school and to go build out more spaces in schools throughout that district, but also to expand to other districts as well, like LA. We are currently building the esports space right now as we speak. So that should be done this summer as well. Yeah.
And if there's a district watching or if there's a teacher watching and they want to talk to you guys, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, the best way to get a hold of us is you can go online and you can find us at ourown.com. And there is a tab that says wellness spaces. So check on it. And you get a chance to just kind of see all the work that we do. And then you get a chance to nominate your school.
Yeah.
And let me just ask you one last question. I know that when you talk to these kids, they're so inspiring. They've been through so much with the pandemic. Is there anything that stood out to you that any of them have said to you or have done that you think is a direct result to the space you've created?
Well, I would say one is when we first built this space, there was a student that walked in and she just started bawling, started crying as soon as she walked into the space. And, I got nervous for a second, like, what happened? What do we do? But what she mentioned was, like, we have never actually been listened to as students. We have never had a space that was built for us. And this space right here is a safe space, but it's also a space that allows us to be our true self. We'll also just open up. And that kind of like just hit home a lot. So what we're doing is actually working. And then just seeing like the growth from there where kids are actually being more vulnerable in the space and going to their counselors or speaking with their school psychologists and able to like just release and just open up a little more.
And I would think it would help attendance too. If it's a place you want to be at, you're more likely to show up.
It's the best place to be right now. It's the most popular space on campus.
Yeah, I know you guys need to move into our office. We can use a little bit out of here. Thank you so much for joining us and thank you for what you're doing for our youth.
I appreciate you so much.
It's a really great cause. You can find out more information about this on our website, kcalnews.com/themorningwrap.